Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your regular geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond, Steele.
Squad up, what up?
Well, I can't speak apparently because across the pond. Across the pond. I'm really enunciating my words today. How are you, mate?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. It's
getting a bit chilly over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's winter.
Yeah, and Sydney was never really that warm in summer this year, to be fair.
Well, it was fucking humid.
At least you're not Aquaman out there at the moment.
It's not raining, yeah.
That's the main thing.
It's like been raining since as long as I can remember.
As long as you can remember.
Yeah.
From the age of like 3?
Yeah, it's been raining.
What's your earliest memory? I'm intrigued by this question because people ask this a lot, and I'm just like, oh, by the way, there's going to be time codes in the description. If you don't want to listen to us chat shit, that's absolutely fine. Jump around, you get to the main topic if you want. The time codes will be in the description. Otherwise, what was your earliest memory?
All right, Freud. I had like a Mickey Mouse bike.
Oh, right, okay.
And it was like a tricycle. And I remember being like riding it around our cul-de-sac street and then literally going like full speed at the curb, thinking that like I would just be able to like, this is how you know my brain was developed.
Yeah.
I could just like go over it.
Hop onto the curb.
Yeah, it would just be like I would hit it and then like gravity would not take it, like Newton's third law or whatever, like that wouldn't apply to me. And I just went straight into the fucking thing and flew over the front, obviously.
Standard.
And cut my chin open, had to get
So is
stitches.
that why you've got a scar on your chin?
That's one of a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Multiple
I have
scars.
a couple issues with my chin over the years. If we want, I can get a couch. We can talk about it.
Yeah, well, we've already started. We might as well continue this session.
One was laser tag.
I charged $200 an hour.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I better get on with it then. Laser tag. I turned a corner. Some kid just hit me in the face
with a
their
gun.
laser gun. Yeah.
Jeez.
I was like, dude, this is laser tag. It's not
also
like
laser
melee.
tag. How much fun was that back in the day?
It wasn't this time, but usually it was.
Not for you.
And then the other time, I think my sister, like I was little and like I was swimming to the bottom of the pool and she couldn't get there, and like I made fun of her twice. And like I did it again, and she like followed me and then just kicked me while I was down there, and my head just just went into the bottom of the pool, and I cut it open again. So I've like cut my
Do
chin
you
open
have
3
friends
times.
or do you
That was a family member.
People who
That's
attack
not even
you.
a friend. That's literally my blood.
You just know people
Blood
in the
was
world who
thicker
run after
than
you.
water. You thought, but no.
In this case,
how
it
did
is
we get on
absolutely
this
not.
topic anyway?
Something about memories. I can't really remember.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my most early memory. I would have been like, 3.
It's funny enough a nice segue into what we've been up to this week, because I've been watching a show
I was gonna say,
which is a lot about memories. Have you seen a show called Upload?
No.
All right, I can't remember. I may have talked about this on the show before. We've done a lot of these shows by now. But this is actually a rewatch. I thought I'd rewatch it with my partner so I could show her the joys of the show Upload. And it's a good, fun, sort of romantic-ish with a bit of comedy in there. Also interesting, like philosophical questions sort of in the background if you read into it a little bit. It's real good. So the vague premise is essentially...
It's an Amazon original.
It is, yeah, it's good.
Usually these are quite bad.
Look, essentially it's set in the not too distant future, and they've developed this technology whereby your thoughts, feelings, and memories can be uploaded to like the cloud, and essentially like you can be stored forever. And it's really this sort of interesting, sort of cute tale, like guy who's he
comedy.
dies. It is a comedy,
Yeah.
but it's got some dark moments to it. Like there's a bit of a dark undertone to it going on in the background. It's like fun, man. Like I highly recommend giving it a watch. It's a good one to sit with a girlfriend and watch. And then season 2's just come out too, so I'm trying to get said partner up to date nice and fast. But what have you been up to?
I'm adding this one to my watch list. It actually 8.0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's good.
I was just watching Taboo season 1 on the plane to Bali. I was just in Bali, by the way.
Because you've been away.
I was in Indonesia.
Oh, very fancy.
Which made me kind of want to look up like Southeast Asia like travel movies. Like surely there's like just like things like the beach, like that vein. Surely there's more that I haven't seen.
No, just the beach. That's the only
It's
one.
the only one. It's a good movie.
I know
Better
everything
book.
about South Indonesian movies, and it's just the beach.
Okay, sweet.
Western versions of those. Sorry.
So search done. Topic over.
Yeah. Don't go on Google. There's no need.
So I watched that. I got up to episode 6, and I enjoy it. You were just talking shit on it, but
We've talked about it on the pod before, I think.
I thought you gave it to me as a recommendation. And now you're saying you don't like it.
I can't remember. I flip flop on
Crap,
things
yeah.
very regularly.
I kind of like the mystical elements of like, hey, this guy's like, he's in touch with his Native American heritage and what that means, and
I think I'd have enjoyed it if it had an element of, like you said, without spoiling it. That's fine, But like, if it had have had like he had spies dotted around and they were giving him information, and it was made quite clear that that was happening, great. But it doesn't. It just makes you think he's mystical and he's all powerful. It's
I think it like my interpretation of it is like he's someone who like uses an intuition, and that can sometimes lead to success. I think to your argument, it should be countered with like your intuition can fail you.
Yeah,
like,
and it never does.
And that so far I have not seen.
He's a
happen.
magician.
Yeah.
Also, Tom Hardy does good accent.
Or good accent of was he not from London?
Well, he's got like this weird mix because he's come back from
Africa.
I think the African War, one of the African wars.
Yeah,
and he's got this weird like twang to his accent that's all over the place.
He does have
classic Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I think that there's like parts of like, or if they countered it with like some other like super Catholic religious person that was like getting inspiration that was also kind of more self-generated than anything, right? And they like it's like, well, it can go both ways.
That would be interesting. Any sort of counterpoint to him, because it's literally him.
I take your point. Yeah, your criticism is fair.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
What else?
Other than the beach?
1917.
Oh, 1917.
Toman is an idiot in that movie. Fucking
Toman?
Yeah, the little brat or the Game of Thrones king that jumps out the window. He's also an idiot in this.
It's been a while since I've seen it. Refresh my memory.
Well, it's a spoiler. Spoilers for 1917. It's like a very major spoiler. He like this guy, this German pilot crashes the plane, and he like tries to help him and just gets himself stabbed. It's like, bro, he's on the other side of the war. Like, don't just like put your guard down. Like, he just dies. It's very sad. He dies very sad.
It's a really good movie, man. I remember it's the Sam Mendes one, right?
Yeah, the imagery is really cool.
And you basically follow a certain character get all the way through the war to try and give them a critical piece of information to stop
because
them.
There's no like communication lines.
Exactly. Yeah. It's set in 1917. Funnily enough, so it's hard to get that information across.
I found it really good, and like I was surprised at how small. Like in the trailer, you saw like Richard Madden and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah,
and they had very small,
tiny parts. Yeah,
very small parts.
I liked how they made a really small story feel really grandioso.
Yeah,
like you are just following this one dude, and I mean he has people that go with him at times, and he meets people along the way and etc. But just some of the cinematography really makes you can tell it's Sam Mendes guy did.
The cinematography is amazing.
Yeah,
like when the city's on fire and it's like the only light, and like in between that you can see it in the background like far away that the city's on fire, but you can't really tell what it is and why there's light.
Yeah.
And then he gets closer and you see that it is, and like there's like the gunshots or like the things that are lighting up him in the night to like be able to find his way.
Beautiful, yeah.
It was very good.
A lot of that went into Skyfall. You can tell from some of the cinematography in that film.
Yeah. And then I've just been playing Deathloop, watching Castlevania Season 4.
I'm excited to talk about video games today.
And reading Wise Man Fear, which is the second book of the King Killer Chronicles, which is the one that you still haven't finished, I'm sure.
I just downloaded the audiobook so I can listen to it.
Why do you
I never spend time reading.
Why do you even take my books?
You don't
need a physical book. Just get Audible.
Yeah, it's true. We've had this conversation. I like to read on the beach, and we've had 0 beach days this year. Except for you, who's just come back from holiday.
It's actually fair.
That's an eclectic mix of things.
Yeah, I've been all over
listening
the place.
watching too.
Yeah.
I've actually got a couple of cool ones as well. I think you might like. I this week managed to get around to watching a film that I've had on my list for a long time, but was like, it's one of those that just sort of sits on the Netflix list and never really gets any attention. But I got around to watching Star Wars Rogue One. Now I'd love to know your thoughts on this.
I think it's the best Star Wars movie
since original Star Wars movie.
I mean, like even
probably
could be better than some of those.
Because I went in with really low expectations because it got a bit torn to pieces a bit in the media because of, it's post-production and having reshoots and everything wanting to change. And I was like, this is probably going to be crap. When I started to watch it, I was like, this is really fun.
Yeah, it's the best one of all the new ones. I would even argue it might be better than Return of the Jedi.
Ah, man, come on.
Return of the Jedi is a great movie, but it's juxtaposed by like the fact that like Ewoks, little teddy bears, overthrow the biggest stronghold point that the entire empire is trying to hold on to. They're beaten by teddy bears. It's a bit unrealistic.
There's a now out of continuity comic from one of the old comic lines where the Ewoks never had that initial meeting with Luke and C-3PO and etc. and never like formed a bond with them. So when they go down to the planet, the Ewoks attack the rebels and then
destroy
them.
them.
And they just die.
Yeah.
And then like it's just the Empire carries on and wins. It's like, all right, cool.
It's pretty unacceptable that like teddy bears could beat these.
Yeah, absolutely.
This galactic empire.
Complete
But
nonsense.
like somebody should have been like, George, seriously, mate. Like, what do you?
Yeah, like what is
make
what is
it
good?
like a little bit more.
But I'm with you actually. I think this is probably one of the better. Yeah, definitely one of the better Star Wars movies. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars guy. I'm not gonna lie. But this was great fun, man. That whole scene with Darth Vader at the end, just like goosebumps, man. Like chef's kiss. It's so good.
It's when he goes freaking crazy.
Yeah, he just goes nuts on the rebels.
It's wild.
And he's just like throwing him against the wall. And he stabs the one through the thing and
Like you got to imagine
through the door.
Yeah, you got to imagine that's why Hayden Christensen took this role. He's like,
Yeah,
I want to play
absolutely.
that guy.
Yeah, like of course. Well, maybe that's why he's coming back for the Obi-Wan series.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like absolutely.
Like he wants to, like he retook it. I'm saying you can understand why he took the original one because he wanted to get paid. Why did he come
I
back?
wanted to get paid.
Yeah, he did it because he's like that. He probably saw that and was like, I can do that. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
like why the fuck not? Like he should be given the opportunity, I think, even though he was terrible in those movies. But also, speaking of video games, as you were a moment ago, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring this week. Now, we talked about this a little bit on the show before. It's the George R.R. Martin co-helmed video game.
Yeah, well, world produced and written by George R.R. Martin.
Don't know how much of a hand he had in this. I'm not going to lie to you.
It doesn't
I
seem
can't really-
like there's any big story that's like really
Nah.
crazy.
So like in the Soulsborne, as they call them, series is there's a lot of like lore to them in general, but like you've really got to dig for it. And this is similar. Like it's not like playing a classic RPG where the lore happens as you progress. It does a little bit, not going to lie, but if you want to know the broader story, like the whole thing going on, you really got to look for that lore.
Is it even interesting?
It's a very grindy game.
It just feels like there's not like you're this faceless character against these like really weird beasts and that
Kinda.
are also faceless. I'm like, how much can I really care about the lore?
Kind of, a little
I
bit.
don't even
yeah.
care about the people.
No, a little bit. Like, I mean,
Like,
I'm probably level 40, 45, 46, and
nerd.
I've not even beaten the first boss. Like I've tried like 4 times. And I'm like,
Really?
Nah, I don't care enough to beat it. Like he's bloody hard. He's bloody hard, and
The
I'm
one
just
with the
like,
gray hair that's in the trailer.
no idea. I should be able to beat him, to be perfectly honest, but it's a case of I'm exploring the map and trying to do all the. I basically want to find the whole map first. Is what I want to do, and then beat the first.
This is
boss.
like, this is your perfectionism.
It's nonsense.
yeah.
But like that's it. I was talking to my buddy from Melbourne, Joe, and he was saying exactly the same thing. Before he beat the first boss, he went on this huge exploration. Got up to like level 90, and I'm like, video games normally only go to level 100 with characters, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, well, this one goes way past that. There's people who are like level 200. I'm like, that is not a thing.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to get to level 40, whatever I am. Like, cause it's one of those games, and I don't know if you've ever played like a Soulsborne before. Have you?
I haven't.
Long story short, you kill an enemy, you get a very small amount of whatever the
XP.
what you call it XP in this, it's runes, whatever you want to call it. And you hoard that essentially until you go back to a save point, and at the save point, you can level up. However, if you die before you get to the save point, you lose those runes. Now, the point of it is the runes stay where you died, and you can go back and pick them up. So you can always get them back. But if you lose them in a place that's really fucking difficult,
Is it worth it to go back?
you might die before you get them back, and you lose all of them. So say you've got 50,000, which for me right now would
So if you
get me-
die back to back, you're fucked.
You die back to back without picking those up, they're gone.
Oh.
It's fucking nonsense. It's so annoying. And I got one before, and like it would have only got me up 1 level, which at this point is not a lot. It's like 10,000 of these runes, and I lost them, and I was like, I just can't be asked. I just put the remote down and left. Like, it's like I'm really enjoying the game.
Everyone
But
says this about these games.
I'm
Everyone
not-
says they're like the best game ever, but they're just fucking so annoying.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying playing it, but I'm not enjoying the experience of it.
That's what everyone
Does
says.
that make sense?
That's literally what
Like,
everyone says.
Oh man,
That's like
I feel
every
like-
review I've ever read about a like Bloodborne or whatever the fuck these games are, Souls game.
You had any thoughts on playing it yet? Maybe when
Dude,
I'm
I just have so many other ones that
Yeah.
that don't sound as stressful.
Yeah, it's too stressful. Is what it is. But
Like,
look.
I don't need more stress.
Look, speaking of gothic things in the
Yeah.
world, did you hear this week that there is apparently being reported The Crow is going to be rebooted? Now, do you remember The Crow from, I think it was 1994 with Brandon Lee?
I was busy driving into a curb with my tricycle. So no. I don't remember the fucking Crow from 1994, dude.
Dude, it's a cult
I was
classic.
born in 91. This was like 3 years old. Like, what do you mean? Like, he asked that legitimately as if I was going to be like, yes, the Crow from 1994.
I can't believe you've never seen the
What
film.
the fuck are you on
It's
about?
like a cult classic.
How old are you?
Dude, I'm clearly older than you. We need to put this on our list of films that we should have seen.
Okay,
because,
I'm adding it to my watch list. The fucking Crow.
well, like, that's the thing we should talk about. We haven't come back to one of our random lists for a little while, but
Yeah.
movies we should have seen is one of them.
Creepy,
And The
actually.
Crow is now going to be on this. It's very gothic. It's very strange. But apparently Bill Skarsgård, who I think is the guy from the It movies, who was the clown from It, he's attached to be the Crow guy.
Rejigged.
Yeah. Look, it's been in talks for a long time to be remade. Jason Momoa is attached for a long time. It's gone through a bunch of different directors, but we now have a writer who is the guy who wrote King Richard. So I'm kind of intrigued by this. So it could be. It might involve a lot of slapping people in the face.
Could.
Who knows?
Could do.
Well, anyway, have you heard this week? Moving on. Did you hear that The Witcher Season 3 has begun production?
I'm stoked, man. They just seem to be really like it's starting to get enough of a following. I think that they're gonna like make it like Game of Thrones. Like
I hope so.
It's just gonna roll.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
hope
gonna
so.
be rolling.
The last season was way better. We talked about this.
It still had its low points, but yeah, it was way better.
Yeah, way better.
Significantly better.
So it was shared on Netflix, behind the scenes image of just the three main characters, all sat around in some very cold looking place. And the caption was, "Beware the wild hunt." So, I mean, they kind of hinted that at the end of the season, didn't they? So I wonder if
did.
that's the direction they're going with this now. That's gonna be
Which
fun.
isn't it early? No, I guess even the first game, the Wild Hunt's involved.
Are they? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Did you play the first game?
No,
I thought you played the
so bad.
first game.
I went to get like the storyline, so I didn't know what was happening. So I watched like trailers of it.
I didn't even do that, man.
But,
I
like,
just jumped into the
speed-
third game.
It was just like speed reviews.
yeah.
Well, to be honest, the third game's made so that it's like almost like a what's the word? Renewed story. Like there's stuff from the past, but you don't really need it. It's
because
it's
doesn't
kind
he
of
lose his memory in
self-contained.
between or something?
Well, like even like in Witcher 2, like one of the disappointing parts actually was like there were some cool things that carried over because that was the big thing that your like decisions from the second game would carry to the third, kind of like Fable, I think. Or
Yeah.
And there were things that did, and there were a couple significant ones, but mostly the main arcs kind of like it was kind of just there were some new people there with new dialogue. It wasn't like game changing.
Yes, new dialogue. That's what we need. Funnily enough, like you mentioned, I thought you were going to go down the route of speedrunning then, because I saw a thing on YouTube that was like someone speedrunning Elden Ring in like 12 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, how the hell are you doing it in 12 minutes?
Well,
Ridiculous.
I was thinking about, like, I bet you there's some cool speedrunning videos on Time Loop or Deathloop.
Probably.
Because, like, there's some creative ways to, like, do certain things certain ways, like, the most efficiently. And I'm just enjoying doing it, but I'm sure there's some pretty cool speedrunning videos and creativity there.
I would like to see that.
Did you notice or see? I know you did actually because you sent it to me.
Okay. Sounds about right.
The new monster in Stranger Things.
I did. Did you see the full trailer?
Looks fucking frightening. I did not see the full trailer.
Right.
I just saw. Was there a trailer more than just that little teaser with the monster?
So there was. There's now a full trailer after.
yeah.
I think they released the teaser first, then they released like a 3-minute trailer. It's really interesting that they've sort of made the main monster in it sort of human-like. I'm surprised by that because all the way through they were sort of like the first one was just a weird alien-looking magician.
What do you mean it's like humanoid? Like
yeah,
it
it
has
is
a humanoid form.
Yeah. I'm surprised by that. I didn't think it needed it. I thought it was better when it was sort of like
Well,
a
you don't know
nameless,
exactly
faceless.
what's happening. Maybe it's taken over someone, or
Could have done. Like it looks like Max is gonna have a bigger part in this season. She's a big part of the trailer, and Max is the little ginger head kid who's going out with
the girl.
I forget which one she's going out with. One of them, the black kid, I think.
The black kid.
And there's a bit in the trailer where she like is like being lifted up in the air, almost like she's been possessed, and it looks freaky. So man, I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, it will be good.
Funnily enough, I actually started watching season 3 this week to just rejig it myself. But the first episode is such filler. I got so bored. I was like, Oh, come on.
It's just introing the new characters, isn't it? There's
There aren't any new characters in the first episode.
Wasn't it?
No, it's the episode
brother?
where is it? Yeah, but he's in the second season. It's Billy, and he tries to get one of their mums to go to like the motel with him. It's that whole story arc in like an episode.
But then he gets like nabbed.
He gets nabbed at the end of it. Yeah. Well, that's gonna be fun, man. That's 27th of May, I think.
Is it? It's coming out.
It's coming out very soon. The first half of it is. So we should probably do a recap of that, unless we've done one already.
I'm down.
A little recap episode potentially.
Of season 3.
Just after
I'm
we've
gonna
seen
have to
Doctor
rewatch it though.
Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's coming out a couple of weeks earlier.
Yeah, that will be good.
Ooh, just buying tickets for that, funnily enough.
We just did. Did you see? I mean, I think you would vibe with this.
Sure.
The actor, from The Flash, what's his name?
Oh yeah,
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, wow.
Became aggravated with people singing Lady Gaga at the Bradley Cooper ballad.
Dude, he's got some serious
And,
issues. I don't want to go into him. He's got some serious
The Shallow.
issues.
You know that song.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have to sing it. You know it.
Oh, please sing it. I'm begging you. Please do.
But he was very aggravated with that.
Well, he apparently went back to the house he was staying in and threatened the owners and was smashing the place up.
So you think he's got like mental issues?
It's very possible. Like, so his role in the new Harry Potter movie has apparently been downsized, and they have put all of his movies from the DC stuff on hold for the moment.
So he's probably got some mental stuff going on. That sucks.
We don't want to put down on mental health issues at all. It's just not a thing. But they need to address it some way, and Warner Brothers haven't said anything so far.
I'm not I'm saying it seems like if you're losing your cool about that, like it's probably tied to some kind of.
But he's like a massive star in like a massive franchise. It's like, dude, like help the guy out. Come on. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like that's not a cool story. Like interesting though that
I didn't know all this when I was first hearing about it, and I was just imagining someone be like, for the third time, you're gonna play this song. I just want to enjoy my beer in peace. I don't care how shallow it is.
How does that go again?
Which one?
I know the Lady Gaga song.
In the shallow.
Well, I don't know if you'd vibe with this. You might or might not vibe. But did you hear this week that after that first weekend when we saw it, Michelangelo Morbius, I can't remember what I said. The thing I said last week.
The thing you made me watch.
Was apparently it was the #1 movie in the world after its opening weekend. Before, I mean, it's probably because of Idiot Psychos going to that week for stuff like this. For that weekend, it was. And then it came crashing down after people read reviews and went, oh, God, I don't want to see this. And no, we've actually got some listener feedback.
We already knew it was going to be bad before we even saw it.
It's true,
we just did it to do it.
We just did it for the content, man.
You got the listener feedback.
Got to do it for the content.
On Morbius. Yeah, people actually cared to comment.
Well, we do. We actually have a couple of bits of feedback at the end of the show, which I'll save for correspondence. But before we move on, let's know what you guys have heard. You can hit us up at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or the Podcast Assemble on gmail.com. Yeah. We are there on all of them. If we've not said any news that you've heard, let us know. Let us know how you feel about Morbius as well.
I think we know how people
Do you want to preface this week's main topic?
We are.
That's getting cut.
Come on, let me do my ambulance. Let me do my ambulance.
The AmbuLAnce.
We are. Yeah, we're watching that movie from our other episode.
One of Dre's most anticipated movies of the year.
It's so rude of you to do that because you know I did it because I had nothing else to give. Tommy stole all the good movies.
Yeah,
and I had to pick the ambulance. But you know what? I'm kind of still glad I saw this movie.
Oh wow!
It's okay. Just because of the absurdities of some of it.
Well, then let's jump. We'll remind
ambulance.
Before we get into it, why don't you remind us why you thought it could be a good movie?
Yeah. So going back to I guess our podcast where we did most anticipated movies of the year, I cited Ambulance, and most people would question, Dre, this doesn't seem like a movie you.
We all did.
Yes, and rightfully so. And I agree with you. It doesn't. Nor did it. Nor was it.
Never will.
But the reason I was intrigued was because Jake Gyllenhaal is on fire, man. The guy hasn't had a bad movie in forever. True. The worst movie he's had, he takes only good movies. And the worst movie he's had probably in the last 2 years I can think of is some of the Netflix ones, which are not terrible. They were just mediocre, and he was the best part of them. Okja, I would say, was his worst movie that he's done in the last 3 years. It's about the renewable pig. Anyway. And so I was just thinking surely, even though it's Michael Bay directing this movie,
he's not picking it up without a good.
Yeah, good surely Jake Gyllenhaal saw something in it, right? And then it also had our boy Yaya. Is that his name? Yeah, and he's also kind of been on fire, minus a little Matrix kerfuckle.
And Aquaman.
He was an Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was the villain.
He's Black Manta.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I pull it back. He was just really
Well,
good.
50-50. He does some good
He
stuff.
was really good in The Watchmen.
Yeah, he does some good stuff.
Anyway, he was in it too, so I was intrigued.
Do you want to give me a stupid plot summary before we get into it?
I do.
Please do.
That's the normal plot summary. Oh god, mine's a bit longer than I
All right.
anticipated. And now just seeing it, I'm like, oh, there's 5 lines here. Jake Gyllenhaal forgets to read the script treatment for this action drama and does his best interpretation of a comedian playing cowboys and cops and robbers. Sorry. And unfortunately for us all, AmbuLAnce plot is also based in a fantasy land. Otherwise, the 405 at rush hour would have thankfully grounded the entire thing to a halt before it started. Instead, we get a GTA game where your character has 5 stars and there's cop cars flying fucking everywhere.
That's so true. That's so true.
That's it.
I'm a big fan of that. That's great. Yeah. It is literally a GTA game. This movie,
there's so many random parts where like you just see a cop car just go phew, like out of nowhere, and it kind of reminds am I coming in hot? Hot Mike. Coming in hot.
And it reminds you of
and it reminds me like when you're playing GTA and the cops are chasing you and like literally like a cop car just flies over the top of you. I'm like, what were you trying to do there, dude?
All right. Let's just hold off for just 1 second and we get into this. So
okay.
My stupid plot summary is Heat meets the Fast and the Furious as Jake Gyllenhaal does his best impression of Al Pacino on Speed, with La Familia hijacking an ambulance along with a classic Michael Bay hot chick for good measure.
True.
That's all it is.
But I was okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good looking cast. Right?
I was okay with that.
We joke about man crushes in Hollywood.
Like every demographic as well.
And I think Jake Gyllenhaal is my man crush in Hollywood. Like I know I've joked about other ones.
It's like for sure.
It's a good one. So what do you reckon the IMDb score is for this? At present.
6.8.
Oh, so close. 6.5.
Ah.
What do you reckon the Rotten Tomatoes is at a percentage?
64.
Oh, 68. If you'd have just gone the other way around, you'd have been so close.
No.
And finally, the Game Breaker. What do you reckon Metacritic is?
53.
It's 55. You were good this week.
That was fucking.
You were on fire.
2 basis points.
You were so close. We should do like a tally. No, that's too much effort.
That's a lot. Of effort,
this is, of course, as we said, director Michael Bay. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
What a name.
Eliza Gonzalez. She's gorgeous. Cam Thompson in this.
Say it.
She just is.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of other guys who are, I mean, they're pretty much. Do you know that we've talked about it a bunch of times? The podcast, the Rewatchables.
Yes.
You know they do the other guy or that guys. There's a bunch of actors who are that guys in this. Guy. Exactly, like someone who you know from other movies, but you don't have a fucking clue what their name is.
Who's like organizing
so many of them. He actually, I at the beginning thought that was the dude from Jackass. I was like,
same Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny
I literally was about to say that, and I was like, oh no, it's not.
It's not.
I actually thought the same thing.
All right, so before we get into it, then. Do you want to tell me who you think has the goofiest IMDb picture? So first and foremost, we have our current MVP, who is, as you well know, Adam Darlington, who plays NY homeless man
with his seductive selfie
in the last movie we talked about, which was Michael Morbius, with his seductive Snapchat selfie. Yeah. Now, today's challenger, Dre.
I'm waiting. I'm excited.
Looks exactly as he does in the movie, and I'm pretty sure it might even be a still from this movie, is Brendan Miller, who plays Trent, who's one of the hit crew from the beginning of the movie. And we're going to talk about him in a little minute.
I would have liked him to be in it more.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Anyway.
But he was one of the actual highlights of this movie for nonsense reasons.
I think that like that's not a terrible headshot.
Okay, so you think
the only thing I'll say is it looks like it is a still from the movie.
I mean, he looks like oh man, who's the guy? Who's the guy who's in Penny Dreadful? The guy who turned down Batman. Josh Hartnett. He looks like Josh Hartnett.
Kind of like his younger brother.
He looks like Josh Hartnett mixed with Christian Bale for me. He's got that vibe.
He looks like Josh Hartnett mixed with like
he's got like a crimpy little
like the freaking what's the guy's name? Spicoli. He's Spicoli hair.
I don't know.
It's Sean Penn, but young.
Oh, okay, all right. He's an interesting looking character. Which one do you reckon is the goofiest?
I think we got to keep it with our weird.
We go with Adam Darlington. Yeah, it's such a weird thing to have on IMDb.
Just imagine that pick was followed by a dick pic. You know?
You up, girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yes or no? Maybe yes.
What do you think? Oh, nice. Well, all right, then talk to me about this movie. What was going on? What's the plot of this movie?
I just saw your text when I was like, I've been putting off the notes for this one, and you said, yeah, tunes and themes, like the
meme words.
Yeah, the meme words, like capital, uncapital. That was good.
Standard.
What about talk to you about this movie? Well, I mean, you heard our stupid plot summary.
What happens in this?
Yeah, our normal plot summary is not very different, right? Like, except like the reality is, Dan and Will Sharp are brothers. They've kind of had a falling out. They get Dan pulls Will back in because his wife.
When he thinks he's out, they pull him back in.
He's been trying to get a job. You know, the classic. He's been doing the good life.
He's a former military. He can't get a job.
Vet that can't get a job. Reformed, was in the crime life, but out now. But his brother stayed in, making all the money. And his brother cons him into getting in one last job that goes awry.
It happens real quick as well.
I mean, they botch a heist and then it's a car chase, and that's the movie.
Yeah. But there's hostages. Don't forget the hostages.
Multiple.
So in what happens is essentially, while they're trying to heist the bank, a policeman somehow gets involved, and just happens to get shot on the way down. Yes. And then to get the policeman out of there, they bring in an ambulance. And while the heist crew gets split, Jake and Yaya, I'm going to call them that, it's just easier, go a different direction to everyone else who just gets shot outside, and they then heist the ambulance with dying policemen in the back.
They actually were the ones that had shot originally.
Exactly, and Eliza Gonzalez.
Yeah, and
in said ambulance.
They're trying to flee while also candidly, self-servingly trying to keep him alive because when you kill a cop, you're kind of fucked.
Exactly.
So it's like they might be able to get off if they.
Two brothers trying to escape a bank guy's gone wrong, right? That's it.
That's the story.
But it is kind of that Heat thing, isn't it? It's a little bit like that, where it all goes wrong, everything goes wrong at the same time.
That first sequence, like the first 30, 45 minutes was like basically that entire Heat.
Well, the heist scene was. Yeah. And then when they come
like
out, it all goes crazy.
Yeah. It might have even been the same fucking bank.
I'm pretty... the same street.
It looked like downtown LA.
I don't know if you noticed, but this was set in LA.
Oh yeah, I noticed, and I was just like, the roads would not be that open.
Did you see the title? So the title for this is AmbuLAnce, and the LA is just green, and the rest of it's white.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh,
complete nonsense. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, it's in LA, guys. But yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. It's just like Michael Bay and Michael Bay.
Bayos.
I don't know if you've heard about the Bayos thing. Yeah. Oh my days. He's apparently a nightmare on set. He's just like hyperactive. Everything has to be like 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of shows in his movies.
I've heard about that, and apparently, like, I saw an interview that Jake Gyllenhaal did, and it looked like he was kind of annoyed about it. Like, not really.
Wait,
he was kind of like,
Bayos was or Jake?
No, Jake was like well, maybe not annoyed, but he's like, I like to take like things from my directors, and you can see like I took a lot of my energy and character from like.
What I mean, like I called it in this in the stupid plot summary. Like he looked like he was on speed or something. He was like cracking out the whole film. Like that was a really interesting performance. Just before we get onto that, I just wanted to make a comment that I feel like this is just a thing I wrote down, right? So some parts were so bad of this movie, they were almost good. And it was, I found myself cringing. I was like laughing, but I was exasperated all at the same time. But it was in all the wrong moments.
I guess
so,
that's
I was
the point.
I was laughing at the things that weren't funny. And I was like exasperated at moments where it was like supposed to be like a heartfelt moment.
Engaged, yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
no, 100%. It's like this weird movie that has like two tones, and like you're almost like, I would have liked you to go fully one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm also glad you didn't, because if you went fully serious, it would have been a terrible movie.
It kind of didn't,
because at least you could laugh at itself.
Yeah.
Like they were laughing. The movie laughed at itself a lot.
Too much.
Yeah.
Some might say.
Which made it weird when it was like trying to be all dramatic.
Yeah.
It was like, guys, like you were just literally in a car chase singing a song on your AirPods.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. All right, and so why don't you talk about performances?
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's manic. The crazy eyes. There was one scene where he put on the mask, and he's like, it was like a joke he made. I don't remember, but his eyes were just like,
oh my god,
so big.
Oh my god,
I laughed out loud. I don't know if you remember this. I was like,
it was like a hockey mask or something.
Yeah, he had a hockey mask on at one point, very briefly. I don't know why.
He was in a different movie.
Yeah,
he was playing Nightcrawler.
Didn't read the script. I'm telling you.
Oh.
Or he was just like, Michael Bay, I'm only doing this movie. You let me do anything I fucking want.
Al Pacino in Heat.
I will pretend I'm in a different movie. I will pretend I'm in a romantic comedy while we're in the car chase. He was like flirting with the girl at one point.
So intense. Well,
like, I think it was like very calm, and then he was like escalated.
Yeah, I feel like he had like a personality disorder where he was like he was almost like ADHD. He couldn't maintain a level. He was just like up and down like this, and then one minute he was he was like really nice and polite. And he was like, I don't want to point the gun at you. And the next he was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you like this. And you're like, oh,
yeah. Well, it was kind of like an escalation. It felt like
Yeah.
he got more psychotic as the movie went on.
And I think that was my problem with the movie in general. And I don't want to skip too far ahead, but like there wasn't anywhere it could escalate from. So they literally had this big shootout in the street, and then they were being chased by the police in this ambulance. And it just like a progression of a movie. It should, you know, escalate one step to the next.
So
and
you have problems with its pacing.
I mean, we'll talk. We'll certainly talk about pacing in a minute. But like, I thought Yahya was all right in this. I didn't find him that believable as a man on his like last option, because so at the very beginning of the movie we get this scene whereby it sort of sets up Yahya Abdul's character
so fast,
and it's like a minute.
Yeah.
It's like a minute where you see like his wife, and then all of a sudden he's on the phone and she needs surgery, and he's out the door. It's like, hang on a minute, I didn't get any time to digest the fact that she's ill, but they have a kid and he's a vet.
It's very one-dimensional characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they add in these like, we know we're supposed to add these things in, so we're adding them in.
Yeah,
to make these actually real characters.
You say this throwaway line, so it sounds real.
Yeah, like you do this because we know you're supposed to do this, so that the audience then cares about you. But it's so obvious that that's what they're doing that it's like, dude, this is stupid.
It's almost like someone gave Michael Bay a checklist of things. It's like, this guy needs to be like the heart and soul of the movie. Okay, say this, say this, say this.
Emotional resonance.
Your wife's ill. You need some money. Okay, now you're the psycho of the movie, so. You
remind them,
do a bunch of cocaine. You do a bunch of cocaine before you come on set. Like it's everyone's a stereotype in this movie, and that's something like I guess I kind of had a problem with. But I mean, that's literally one of my comments here, is that the police were all terrible stereotypes. But what did you think of the she's not a nurse, sorry, the EMT character, that Eliza Gonzalez? What did you think of that? Like, she's the classic Michael Bay girl. She's just an attractive girl plonked into the movie.
I think she had a strong performance, though. I think her acting was better than like Megan Fox's. Like that's who we're comparing her to. Like she was a better actress.
But like, I mean, like if we're saying that Yahya was one-dimensional, she was. At least Yahya had.
I feel like
I guess he was two-dimensional
to work with.
He was two-dimensional.
He was
one-dimensional. She is one-dimensional.
I don't think so. I think that her intro scenes gave her a lot of like I guess like depth to her. It's like, okay, what's behind this chick?
Did she?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting how she was like all about her job, no personal. Like I thought she had the biggest arc of the entire. She's the only one that had a place where she was, and then a place where she ended and changed. Like every other character was like, I'm the same way. I'm not changing. I'm a one-dimensional person. I go out the way I came in.
Kind of fair enough. All right, I'll give you that. And I mean, to be fair, while we were with her at the beginning, you got the sense. I mean, you get the sense you were told by her actions that the job is just a job to her. Like she isn't interested in feelings after getting someone to the hospital. It's just a case of bam, get him there and leave. So like, I mean, yeah, I'll give you that.
And that played off the EMT thing. Like while she was like, "This is your job. Keep him alive. Don't think about the fact that we're in a car running around." You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and I mean, they kind of played in that throughout the movie, which you know, that wasn't terrible. I think my favorite character though of the entire film was my option for the opponent in Goofy's IMDb picture, who was Trent, who's a character from the original heist scene at the beginning, who rocks up in Birkenstocks for like no reason. He's like
stoner boy,
and literally everyone's like, "Why on earth would you wear Birkenstocks to a bank heist?" And he's like, "I gotta do me, bro." You're like, "What is happening?"
All the baboons. Spoilers. Can I spoil yet? No, we're not there yet. I won't.
I mean, we've said it's heat. So yeah, you know they're all gonna die.
All the baboons die.
They're all gonna get shot immediately.
Pretty much all the people apart from the main two characters die within like the first 30 minutes. I would have liked them to elongate that a bit because there was comedy in that little heist crew.
Sure.
Like it would have been nice to have them be more involved.
And I mean, it would have made more sense. I mean, if we're talking about an escalation, right? So let's give a way for this movie to have more escalation to it. You have two different groups going different directions. So you've got Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya in the ambulance going one way, and then the survivors of the crew going a different direction in a different car. They're chasing two people. They're not sure who's got the money. They're not sure who's the crime leader. Halfway through the movie, the second van gets blown up. You know, this is a very easy storytelling. Even if I can make it up, surely a Hollywood writer can make it up. You know, like, oh my God. But yeah, and I think that leads into what we were kind of talking about with the pacing. Like, it was just not, there wasn't pacing. No, it was like an explosion of nonsense, and then the most drawn out scene of all time.
I can't. stop thinking about the cop cars that just fly into walls out of nowhere. It's like,
Everywhere.
what were you trying to do, dude? Like this cop car just like flies past him and into a wall. It's like, you weren't even close.
Like, what are you aiming for?
Like, hit the brakes.
You're just destroying public property.
Yeah, that's a wall. That's not a street.
I said this to my partner who came with us to see this. I said, I've never seen a movie where so much, like, there is so much happening at the same time, but nothing is happening all at the same time. Like, it's baffling how much they fit in without, and it's just so long and boring.
There's so much long, inconsequential shit.
Yeah. Nonsense. And then there was a bit whereby they jumped back to the police. So the police in this, sorry, we're really jumping around here, but the police in this, essentially the main guy is sat in a van, just dictating everything that's happening, like a coach on the sidelines. He's just telling the cars which ones to go and where to go and how to try and block them in. And it's a case of like, the reason they keep going in the ambulance is because the cop is still alive with them, right? And the EMT is keeping him alive. So that's the reason why the ambulance is allowed to go as long as it goes.
Yeah.
But everything took me out of this movie. Like, some of the jokes just completely broke the immersion. Like,
but like that is so true. But also, I have like a list of the jokes, by the way.
Oh, please. I'm excited. We'll save that.
That is so true, but like also why I like it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, at least it's laughing at itself. Can
you
imagine if the jokes weren't there, how boring a movie this would be?
Oh, absolutely. But like the fact it felt so rushed but slow at the same time. Yeah. And then you had these like random jokes thrown in and you were like, hang on a minute. Didn't fit. And you were like, it's like Morbius last week. Like the humor was just all over the place.
Do you realize you're being chased by cops trying to kill you?
So weird. Yeah. So interesting. Like, it just has so many layers to it and none of them fit together.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the toys kids get where it's got like the circle and the square and the rectangle and the star and they've got to fit them in.
Square peg.
It's like that, but they're just like forcing all the pegs together instead of trying to put them in the thing. Yeah. It's just completely nonsensical. One thing I was kind of intrigued by was though, like, I've kind of clubbed the cinematography and the world building here. Like, it was obviously LA, we get that. But what did you think of like the Michael Bay cinematography? Like, it's very Michael Bay.
It's been a while.
Very polished.
It's been a while.
I haven't seen a Michael Bay movie in a long time.
Yeah, I don't think he's made one in a while.
Oh, he was doing the Transformers up until pretty recently.
I think he was just still going. Them now. I guess other than a Transformers movie.
He directed them.
Other than a Transformers movie, I haven't really seen anything. And I also didn't see those movies. So.
I've got a fantastic section for you at the end. I've replaced trivia for you with a new section.
Okay.
You're going to very much enjoy that, I think. But in terms of that...
It was like they did a lot of like these aerial spinny
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it was cool. I actually didn't mind it.
They did a lot of drone stuff. Now, it's really interesting. They got some of the, I'm going to say in quotation marks, the best drone pilots in the world to do some of these shots. Know nothing about drones or the pilots.
Is that very in demand?
What? I guess maybe. But there's some interesting scenes whereby like they were in at one point like a parking lot that was under a bridge and it was the drone was like flying through like it must have been like one of the structures holding the parking lot up under the bridge, and like it sped up and it went round, it caught up and like got in front of the ambulance, and you were like, oh, that's actually interesting. You've seen all of these different directions of it and it's not CGI. But then he would do stuff
there wasn't much CGI.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I've not even put anything in. Yeah. But then they did something on the flip side of that. I found that interesting in terms of like the cinematography. But on the flip side, they did a thing, and they did it at least 3 times, whereby you started with a shot directly down at the street. The camera pulled right out. And normally in that type of thing, what it would do is it would just either pull right out and you would just get like a big view of the city or whatever, or it would pull direct, like someone would step out of the building and it would pull right back in directly on them. But what it did was it pulled out and
rotated,
did like a spin in the air and then came right quickly back down. I was nauseous.
Yeah, you kept saying that. You're like, I'm getting
honestly, I was like, what is happening?
I actually, like, when you think about this movie, like, if it was just on and you were just doing something, it wouldn't be that bad. Like, but the fact that you're in a theater, you're just, like, trying to follow this incoherent, like, well, it's a very coherent story, but, like,
didn't help, though, with those kids talking the whole way through as well. That was a bit of a nightmare.
By the end, I was like, I get it.
Like, it was, for some reason, as much as we were like making fun of it, I kind of enjoyed the movie. Like, I kind of did.
The action was like pretty well.
Let's talk about the action for a minute.
It was really well shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty violent.
Yeah.
The whole way through.
Yeah.
There were some really graphic scenes in this. And now a thing...
Mainly the surgery.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yuck. I literally went to the bathroom. I was like, I'm over
Yeah.
this. I haven't gone to the bathroom in 10 years in a movie. That's how you know this was long.
So in the... Yeah, we could say,
Arduous.
in the ambulance journey, in the heist, post-heist, while they're trying to escape the cops, what happens is the cop who's been shot, they realize that he has another bullet in him.
Which, by the way, it's been like an hour.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Surely. And also, she's supposed to be the best EMT ever. How did she not notice another bullet wound?
He's wearing a bulletproof vest. Like, just take it off and check underneath. It's nonsense.
It's ridiculous.
But, yeah, so they find he has another bullet wound, and it's in a very precarious area, and they have to do spleen surgery on this guy. And she's an EMT. She's got no idea. Yahya Abdul's character has got some fields experience, I believe, from his days in the military.
Yeah.
It's
triaging.
It's mental. It's nonsense. It's like, it's so crazy watching it, and you're like, and they get so graphic to the point you see them put their hands in.
Well, that's not even the ridiculous part. The ridiculous part is they're like FaceTiming people on a golf course.
This is how he makes his money, man. This is how he makes his money.
I was literally like, you gotta be kidding me, Michael Bay. Like she calls a guy that she used to fuck. She's like, I need help doing the surgery. He's like, oh, first time you've called me in 6 months.
Oh, you're an
And
EMT.
she's like,
you
I'm
can't
the.
do this surgery.
She's like, no, you don't understand. I
I am the chase in LA.
I'm the chase in LA. She's like, that's you? Oh, let me
I'm
help
vengeance.
you. Yeah. And then he's like, hold on, let me FaceTime in my doctor bros. And they're like on a golf course. And he's like,
God.
baby girl, here's what you need to do. Grab the spleen. I'm just like, first of all, no. Second of all, like they're putting the FaceTime onto the EMT technology, like it's like FaceTime medicine. Like this stuff is Apple is not just compatible with this. Ridiculous.
And that took me out of the world a lot as well. It's like it's not a future world where they've got all this cool technology that all works together. It's just not a good scene.
It's LA.
It's LA.
They could I would say this.
AmbuLAnce
entire scene.
Yeah,
add another sequence where you give the guy more lines or something if you really want to have something there with him. But he didn't do much. And then the funniest part was he's freaking out mid-surgery and the guy just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
That's not going to create more trauma.
The cop begins to wake up mid with their hands in him.
Yeah.
Right?
And then Yahya just knocks him in the face.
Smashes him.
She goes, oh, that worked. And it's like, no, that would not work. That
No.
would create trauma.
You've given him brain damage.
Yeah.
Like,
but the funny part was like Jake Gyllenhaal was like in that scene, I leave you for 2 seconds, you punch the guy in the face.
Yeah, punching the cop in the face.
It's like, you wanted to kill him earlier. What do you want about?
So essentially, like the whole scenario is that like outside the ambulance, right, you've got GTA happening. It is this nonsense.
6 stars. Bro.
Cars crashing everywhere. Yeah. Everything's going absolutely ballistic. And then inside, it's this hectic, intense scene where they're trying to save this policeman because he's their leverage. He's the reason they're being kept alive by everyone outside, right? As soon as that cop dies, they know that they're just going to get taken out in this chase. And the juxtaposition of the two is actually kind of fun because it's a different kind of hectic outside. Outside, it's like cars, like you say, flying over like ramps.
And the captain's kind of like really chill.
So chill.
And then Jake Gyllenhaal is going fucking crazy. So
it's a really, like, everything juxtaposes something different, and it's really interesting. A little bit of trivia for you about this. You know, there's the random dog in that scene that happens to be in one of the cars. That's actually Michael Bay's dog. How weird is that?
It seemed like so useless.
Such a weird, like,
cut that out.
Yeah, like complete nonsensical point of the movie. I did actually like that they made a reference to one of Michael Bay's other movies. The Rock. That was a good. I was like, because that's actually a good movie.
I love that movie.
I do as well.
It's a great movie.
It's when Michael Bay was good.
And I didn't know he did that movie until they made that joke. The joke was something like they were talking about The Rock, and he was like his older partner was actually talking about
So the guy who gets
The
shot, the cop who gets shot, his partner who stays outside while he goes into the bank when he gets shot. He's going to hit on a woman, right?
Yeah, he goes into like hit on her. And,
classic Michael Bay. So the partner stays outside, but he makes a joke about The Rock, and the guy's younger, so he doesn't get it. So it's like, haha, millennials, they don't get it. It's like, cool, Michael Bay, you're old.
Yeah.
Like, good on you.
I actually thought that beginning, like, I guess we'll get on it in 3 best 3 worst, but I was really engaged for the first 30, 40 minutes.
I was
like, this is exciting.
Seriously.
I
Jake
just feel like played it so well at the beginning of the heist.
So well. Yeah. And he was a really good character in this until it got played out for 2 hours. And you were like, I don't need this.
Like, another hour of
like, I just don't need this at all. So, you got anything else to say before we go on to tones and themes, if you've got any?
I don't even know.
No, I don't have tones and themes. I just said pew pew bang bang.
Yeah, like what the fuck was the thing? I
What
guess
is-
like maybe the girl has some, like, you know, like
She's got it. Yeah, give her
nothing
an
should
hour.
be like just I don't even know what
Just a job.
yeah, like what it should you should try.
Every life is precious,
Yeah,
except for we'll talk about it in a minute.
I don't know actually. I don't even think she had a theme. I think she had growth as a character.
Did you have any 3 best and 3 worst then?
I did.
I bet ours are
Um,
very similar.
The worst, the inconsequentialness of it all. God, this
Oh
is
my
like
God,
a
yeah.
paragraph. Like, but even more, their dumb attempts at making the inconsequential things like paraded as like
Well,
important.
elaborate on that then.
Like,
Elaborate. Give me
the-
more.
like for instance, their half-ass attempts to like justify the helicopter coming under the bridge. Like the captain's just like, I'm gonna put some heat on him. It's like, why? For what reason?
Because he stops.
But
They-
he only stopped because
Wait. Serious question.
so-
Serious question. though. How much fuel did the ambulance really
I
have?
not that
like,
much.
it did not go 24 hours. That's ridiculous. I mean, 24 hours, but like, what, like
Whatever
12
it
hours.
was. But my point is, like, really, Michael Bay just wanted a shot
Of
where
a helicopter. Yeah.
goes under a
Yeah,
bridge.
he did.
That chases Jake Gyllenhaal, who gets to get out and shoot at the helicopter,
Which
and
was
gets
very
this
cool.
image.
I enjoyed
like, that's
that.
what they wanted.
I
But,
actually,
like,
I think that was the other way. I think that was Jake Gyllenhaal being like, I'm only gonna fucking do this movie if I act
I'm
like
gonna
I'm
do
on
this shitty
coke
movie, I wanna
and
be
I
on
can
the
hang out, hang out
yeah.
So he's hanging out the back of the ambulance, firing at a helicopter.
he's like, I need that. But I'm talking about the part where he like literally gets out of the car just to get out.
Yeah, for no reason.
For no reason. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why are you getting out? And then he's like, I'm gonna put some heat on him. Throw the helicopter under. It's like, so you're putting your pilot at risk for no reason.
Yeah,
like
no.
you can still see him. There's literally no tactical advantage to doing
see.
this. And he's like, no, we need to get him scared. It's like, dude,
So what you're
that's-
trying to say is
my
those
point is like they're
yeah,
trying to justify something really, really inconsequential
Absolutely.
with like an actual reason. Right?
I'm with that. I'm with that.
There's so many examples of
Wait,
that.
this is your
like,
worst, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is my worst. I mean, like, like, what else? Like, just all the stuff with the kids in the beginning, the kids at the end. It's like, we need to have heartfelt moment.
That's
now.
actually one of mine.
It's very robotic, right? So that's one of mine. And I said the other one was just obviously the length, right? I don't even.
Mine are pretty much exactly the
Yeah.
same. I've got it's so fucking long. Like one thing we didn't really talk about in our like overview of this in enough depth, I don't think, because you just cannot overstate how long this movie is. It drew everything out, every moment, every little minute nonsense detail, except for the bit that was interesting when they were actually developing the character at the beginning. I was like,
Yeah.
give me half an hour more of that
Yeah,
and take
that'd be
away
great.
45 minutes of this fucking car chase. I don't care
Just
about
cars
this.
running into walls.
Yeah, it's absolutely nonsense. It was just so long. And I did say the kids stereotype is just bad. Like they had shots of like 2 kids who were portraying Jake and Yaya
Yeah.
in their younger lives, but it didn't add anything to the story. It was just 2 kids playing soccer, right?
Well, that's the point.
Football.
It was like, oh, this is a character moment. Like, no, that's not. What that
That's
is.
not what a character
That-
moment
that-
is.
It's just like him trying to have a character moment,
It's-
or even like, dude, just
nah,
like
not good.
the part where the inconsequential shit, the part where they like do the 5 ambulances, like,
yeah.
right?
Well, we'll get to that in a
but-
minute.
But he's like, it's a military maneuver. It's like, no, it's not.
No.
There's no scenario where that happens. You're just saying that because your story has a guy that's in
'Cause
the
he's from the-
military.
yeah.
It's like
Look,
so dumb.
My last one just quickly then is, and we actually were quite nice to the cinematography in this, I think, but like some of the quick cut, like some of the shots in this, he just couldn't maintain for longer than 2 seconds. It would just cut, and I was getting nauseous. I was like, this is too much. Like they just focus on a thing and stay looking at it for more than 4
I
seconds.
thought the cinematography was like one of the okay parts, but
I know there was one point when I noticed it, and I was actually quite in the movie at that point. I was like, oh, this is actually a bit of fun. But then it got to like 2/3 of the way through, and it was still going, and then it would be like bang, 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 and I was like, this is more than the gunshots. Like there are just too many quick cuts here. But what are your best then? Because I mean, like we've given it like a bit of praise.
Yeah, the best would probably be, what do I have here? Jake Gyllenhaal literally only agreeing to do this
Literally my
movie
first one.
with full rights to do whatever the fuck
His
he
manic
wanted.
performance
Yeah, like
is-
the fact that he just like
Mwah.
was like, I don't care what this movie's about. I'm gonna make whatever jokes come to me.
I'm gonna make whatever movie I want.
Yeah. And then Eliza Gonzalez, I think it was like a strong performance. Like she didn't have much
yeah.
to work with, but she was, I think, the only one that had a singular tone.
Yeah, I'll give her that.
Does
yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like she was consistently like, fuck you guys, you're dickheads. Like,
Even Yaya's character flip flopped between. Like,
Yeah.
there was a bit when he had the opportunity to stop the chase, and he's like, "We keep going." It's
Yeah.
like,
It's like, dude,
like, it was something different every time. One
Yeah.
time it was we're a shark. One time it
We're
was
shark, we don't
we're
stop.
We're a train. Like, what the fuck are you? Like, make up your mind. Are you organic or not? Sorry, go on.
And then I thought I liked her. I liked Jake Gyllenhaal, and I just thought the crew in general the
heist
dynamic of
crew.
the heist crew in the beginning
I'd have
was
liked
a
to
good
see
one.
more of them.
It would have been nice
Yeah,
to have that
yeah.
last longer.
Knowing Michael Bay is probably a bit like Zack Snyder would probably do like a prequel where they all get together.
Yeah.
How the crew met.
Yeah, like no one cares.
Well, like I had a couple. Like obviously Jake Gyllenhaal, like his performance, like I say, chef's kiss, like just different movie. Like I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
I want to see, you know what I mean?
Or
Like
he does that just the whole
just let him be that character for it. Yeah, that's what I mean. He did, to be fair. It's just totally different to what we normally watch as well. Like I could just turn my brain off for most of it. I was like, this is just like cool. Like I don't need to think about this.
Mhm.
I wasn't overly analyzing it. Like even now when we go and see like the MCU films, I'm sat there going like, oh, that must be a reference to this, and oh yeah, that's interesting. I'm not really just in the moment anymore. I'm like really thinking about it. Whereas with this, I was just like brain off. Grand Theft Auto happened.
There's not
go,
much to
go.
really dig into.
Yeah. And my last one was that like I just like the initial point I made that it's so bad it's good. Like we can talk more passionately about this, infinitely more passionate about this than we ever would the Morbius movie. Like that was just so boring. Whereas at least with this, like shit was happening. Like
Yeah. No,
it
it
wasn't
has-
a
it
big
has
CGI
redeeming
mess.
qualities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
There was no
that
CGI.
mine.
I think that's actually, if I could say my third good, I didn't have really a good one, but that would be it. The fact that there was no CGI.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of CGI. Yeah,
I don't think there was
I'm
any.
sure there was I'm sure there was
Like
enough
what? Like maybe.
explosions and stuff probably. Well, go on then. Tell me. The real question is though, this middling movie. We talked about this. We said at the beginning. Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and Metacritic all very middling. Is this movie better or worse than
This is a
Aquaman
hard
2018?
This was a hard one. I struggled with this, and I came to the conclusion that if I could cut 30 minutes of the movie, it'd be better. Am I allowed to walk out?
No.
I have to sit through the whole thing.
You did walk out. You went for a bathroom.
I'm
You
saying,
didn't come back
like-
for like 10 minutes.
No,
I was
so
like,
if
so you left?
If I'm allowed to be like, I leave at the 3/4 mark, then this movie's better than Aquaman. If I have to sit through the last half again, where Poppy and all that shit happen, I think Aquaman's better.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, man. I've said it's better. I think it's better than Aquaman 2018.
it's fair.
I just think, at least with this, there's some of that entertainment value. Whereas with Aquaman, I'm like, I can't remember that film. And not that I'm gonna
To be
remember
honest,
this.
I can't. Well, it's easier
in
to remember.
4
because
years'
there's not
time.
that much going on. in
Yeah,
this
that's
one.
true.
I might take it back. I kind of agree with you, but like the reality is, I don't know if I'd ever sit through this whole movie again. I'd stop at some point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Spoilers?
Yeah. I mean, not much to spoil. I guess.
Well, there's a couple of bits, right? So, like,
Yeah.
when we went in, and the first thing I said to you was, do you think they both die? Like, the first thing I said.
Yeah.
And, like, it was always going to be, as soon as well, when the cop got shot, I was like, well, at least one of them's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, the main two.
It seemed pretty obvious that Jake Gyllenhaal was going to die. It was more
minimum
like-
Jake Gyllenhaal.
it
It
was
was
like
more a
more with
case of,
both. Yeah.
will Yaya
Yeah.
die? But, like, so the kind of, what kind of happens is that Yaya ends up saving the cop at different points through the movie, whether it's through helping Liza Gonzalez's character or whatever that might be. And he survives, right? Like, because the cop helps him out back. Because the cop's like, for once, the black guy didn't do it.
And the funny part is, like, he's like, that guy saved my life. And I'm like, instead of saying that guy killed me, like, it was like a little, like, kind of a psych out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
dude, you were literally in a coma the whole time. You don't know that. You actually have no idea. Like,
It's so true. But I think the key part of it was that so the bank heist they were doing, they actually got away with two of the bags of money, which each had, I think, $8 million in each. And one of the bags remained in the actual van, and they snuck one of them into Eliza Gonzalez's bag, who then gave it to Yaya's wife. And they get away with it's kind of like a happy ending almost for him. I feel like it's kind of nice. I kind of enjoyed that a little bit, but like there isn't a lot to spoil in this. But like Jake Gyllenhaal eventually like flips, right? He just like loses his
continues
shit.
to go. He breaks bad.
Yeah, he
And,
does, but in a big
eventually-
way.
Yeah, eventually, like, thinks that she kind of did. Eliza, is it Eliza?
I think it's Eliza. Yeah.
Eliza accidentally shoots Will Sharp.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like that, Jake Gyllenhaal realizes that it was her, flips out at the very end when they're driving him to the hospital, and is about to kill her.
Yeah.
And then his brother actually kills him. So that's like another twist. I think the funniest part though is when when Will Sharp did get shot, and Jake Gyllenhaal started driving the ambulance, and she was working on Will Sharp, I was literally like, no, we're not doing this again.
Not again.
We're not doing this movie all again.
I think the thing the trailers and stuff hid, which I found kind of fun, was that, and they just took too long to get to, was that halfway through-ish, Jake Gyllenhaal makes a call to some Hispanic friends who are clearly a cartel-type gang downtown. And that what they do is they organize to meet them under a bridge, and they've got 5 other ambulances.
Yeah.
And they're all just going to go the opposite direction. And I honestly thought, that was going to happen half an hour before it happened.
Well, because he called them. And literally 45 minutes went by, you're like, they still haven't done it.
And they spent so long putting guns and shit in this car, and it was like, what?
I serve no purpose.
What's the point? Well, they killed a bunch of the police guys at one point, but I'm like, it's unnecessary. What have you got against? I mean, what have you got against the police guys other than trying to stop them doing their drug business or whatever they do? But the only reason that happened with them attacking the police guys was so the head of the cartel, whatever they are, his son could get shot.
There's
killed.
So many ways to do that. You didn't need to
so
write
many
it that
other
way.
ways.
Yeah.
It was nonsense. And that was kind of a flip in that scene. The head of the car, Pappy, he was called, right? Pappy.
Yeah.
He then flipped on Jake and Yahya Abdul.
And then they have to kill the cartel, and they get out, but he gets.
And
shot
then they
in the
have
process.
another big fight scene, and then another.
And then I was like, oh my god, we're gonna go watch this whole entire movie again while he's getting surgery in the back again. I was like, please, God, no.
But how did the cop survive that whole time? Absolutely not. In the beginning 15 minutes, his vitals were dropping.
He looked terrible right after he got shot. I was like, this guy ain't gonna make it the whole movie.
Well,
he's barely gonna make it.
Yahya was giving him blood as well. He was literally giving him blood.
I don't think that's just. It's not like a health potion.
Surely he should be passing out. He's
die.
He's driving the ambulance. It's like, are you drunk? No, we lost a lot of blood recently.
Seriously,
madness. But they obviously wouldn't kill the guy driving the ambulance because they wanted to keep the cop alive, and that was kind of the thing that was keeping them going. And I don't know. Well, one thing I wanted to mention before that is kind of a bit spoilerific. We talked about.
We're done. We're ready for spoilers.
Well, we are, but I didn't want to mention it before. Is that Trent's demise was fucking brutal. Do you remember that?
Oh, you mean
the guy with the Birkenstocks?
Yeah, that was so randomly gruesome.
So
his,
randomly
whole
gruesome.
body was fucked, and he was pretty chill about it.
So he gets run over, right?
My legs are fucked.
Yeah. So he gets run over, and so when we didn't do a great job of explaining this, but when the heist goes wrong, the majority of the crew goes out the front and just starts a firefight with the police and just gets shot. Whereas Jake and Yahya Abdul go underneath the bank and try and escape that way. That's how it happens. But the dude in the Birkenstocks, Trent, who we talked about at the beginning, the guy who's driving the van runs him over. He gets shot while he's trying to drive away, and he runs the dude over, and they pull him out front of the van, and he's it's like a cartoon. You know, like in a cartoon when a car runs over your foot, and there's just a tire shape in the foot. That's what his body is.
His whole body.
And he's just like, dude.
I'm like, dude, you should be freaking out a bit more.
You should be dead. Your spine is crushed. How high are you?
It was gruesome.
It's just nuts. And there were bits of it that were weirdly gruesome out of the blue.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Yeah, especially because I don't think Michael Bay's usually that way. I guess not in Disney Transformers.
Movies. This must have been a R-rated film, surely, because
definitely.
And I think most Transformers films are for whatever you say,
yeah.
PG-13 or whatever it is, so they can get more money for these movies. But this was made on such a small budget, they were like, fuck it, do whatever you want. And there was I guess most of it, it was on $40 million, the budget, which is real small for anything like this. But I guess they probably got a lot from all the product hawking that went on in this. There was so many product placements in this.
What did they
madness.
do? There was obviously, they talked about a couple of movies.
All the technology. Everything they used was literally and then all the cars, they were all Dodges. Yeah. They must have destroyed so many fucking cars in this film. It's a madness. Yeah. Every other scene, a car was flipping or smashing into a wall around the ambulance. not anywhere.
Not even close.
Not anywhere near.
It's also what was their goal, because they were told not to try and take them out.
They were just trying to frustrate them by the sound of it,
by driving into walls,
by smashing up their own cars. Well, anyway. one bit we didn't talk about was that Eliza Gonzalez actually saves them at one point. So there's a random so to make it even more big in scale than it needed to be. Halfway through, we're introduced to an FBI guy who.
I forgot about this. That's another dumb part. Who happens to have gone to school with the guy?
Who happened to have gone to school with Jake Gyllenhaal.
So dumb.
And he believes that the cops died at one point. So they're just going to kill Jake and Yaya. They're just going to like snipe them off. So they put them in like a space that's really small. I think it's at a stadium, maybe in LA. And I
don't remember this.
They
Was I gone for this?
You man remove. they basically like shepherd them into this like small space, and they've got the sniper rifles on them. And she's in contact with the cop's phone with this new FBI guy, and she's like, he's still alive. So they call off. Well, they try and call off the sniping, but it's too late. They're already taking the shots, and she like runs forward and like stops both of them from getting shot, which is kind of like an interesting wrinkle to her character, because she not only knows that if they get shot, that's kind of the end. Like everyone's getting messed up in this situation, but she also kind of saves them as well. So she must have had some fondness for the Yaya character. He's painted as the nice guy in this,
and even Jake Gyllenhaal, it feels like she doesn't like him, but she's kind of putting up with him. You know, like, you know, she's
weird.
It is a weird dynamic.
Yeah. I guess she knows that if the police actually went for them, they'd all just get murked, right? They'd all just get destroyed. And then we kind of touched on it a moment ago, like the whole Hispanic gang thing. Like, why was that in this film?
Well, they needed someone to help them out. I don't know. I thought they could have done more with that and less with the car stuff.
I feel like there's just a chunk of like driving in the middle. I know it's about being an ambulance, but there's like a half an hour chunk in the middle that they could have just kind of like blended into the rest of it and just, you know, like smush the two together.
Yeah. And then there's like another half hour of driving out.
And then there's another, then they drive to the hospital at the end. Like, fuck, man. So yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal gets killed by Yaya, and then Yaya's about to die on the floor because he's in handcuffs.
What's her name?
Which is an interesting reflection on society, maybe a little bit. Let's not get too deep into this.
Well, I think it was more about like the guy killed cops.
Exactly. And they were just going to leave him to die. But she stands up for him, and then the cop obviously stands up for him as well, which is also maybe a flip on that genre, shall we say.
I don't think so. That would happen. No.
And he seemingly gets away scot-free at the end, even though he's... I
don't think he's going to get away scot. I just think he's not going in for life.
All right, you reckon he gets away with them? Okay, yeah, maybe goes away for like the driving.
It's like a different like crime.
Maybe he plays that. Oh, I was tricked into this card because he only turned up on the day. He didn't know anything about it before that.
True,
but I guess no one could corroborate that story except everyone else is dead.
Yeah, I guess literally all of them.
Literally the whole crew,
except for that one random guy who like had no role in the movie, but to be this weird kind of funny character that Jake Gyllenhaal ripped off of.
Which was that?
His like employee. With the flamingos.
Yeah.
How random.
I can't even remember that. I can't even remember that plot line.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we move on to well, it's not trivia this week. I've given you a new section.
No, let's do the new section.
All right, okay. So I'm gonna name for you 5 movies, and you have to tell me, is this a real Michael Bay movie? Yes or no?
Okay.
Okay.
Like directed and produced, or just
directed? Sorry, is this a movie directed by Michael Bay? Okay, so I'm gonna start fairly easy, and then it's just gonna go whatever. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Boys. Yes or no? Is it a Michael Bay movie?
Yes.
All right. Okay. 13 Hours. Is it a Michael Bay movie? Yes or no?
13 Hours. Is that the one about with Edward Norton?
You've just got to guess. Is it a Michael Bay movie or not?
I think it is.
It is a Michael Bay movie. Number 3, Armageddon. Michael Bay movie.
As well.
It is.
I know
Michael
this.
Bay
I
movie.
actually know more about Michael Bay than I thought I did.
All right. 2 more.
Okay.
Pain and Gain.
I'm guessing one of these isn't. That's not.
It is a Michael Bay movie. All right. And finally, Robopocalypse.
No.
This is actually an upcoming Michael Bay movie. He's literally making a movie called Robopocalypse.
Oh, I thought you just made that up.
I was just like, what's the most nonsense thing that I could think of? I was like, fuck, man, what absolute nonsense is this? Robopocalypse.
Is it a RoboCop mixed with a Terminator?
I didn't even click on it. I just read the name and went, I'm never going to watch that.
Probably not.
That could be in your list of most excited for movies of 2023.
No, sir.
Well, that was our rambling overview of AmbuLAnce.
I'm not going to recommend it, but I'm not going to say you shouldn't watch it if it's just on HBO
background.
In the background. Yeah,
great background TV. When you're ironing, just chuck it on like it's fine.
I
mean, it might not
finish.
It might not finish by the time you might have to do a few washes. I don't know, because I wouldn't want to start it because I feel like you get chucked into this world that doesn't get fleshed out, and then you have to sit with it for so long.
You don't have to because you didn't pay and you're not at the movie theater.
We did pay, and we were in the movie theater.
Do this podcast, so we did sit through
We did it for you guys.
Yeah. You don't have to.
I'm probably, even though I would say it's better than Aquaman 2018, I'm not going to recommend it to people to watch.
Okay.
All right, you got some correspondence.
I do. From my little brother Tommy.
Ooh.
Fan of the pod occasionally.
Tommy number 2.
Tommy number 2.
God, I can't be number 2.
I guess, to be honest, he's Thomas.
Okay.
We'll call him Thomas. Thomas.
Is he going to make us a theme?
I don't think so, mate. He's too big time now.
Let's bring that back, shall we? That joke that's probably 50 episodes ago.
He said the Halo series is a complete shit so far.
Isn't complete
Isn't.
shit. Interesting.
Yeah. And that prompted me. I was gonna wait and watch it. They're like releasing it slow build.
Yes, they are.
And I was gonna watch it even if it was shit because it's one of those.
We're gonna watch it for the pod. It's on the list.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
It's one of those properties that I will always probably engage with.
Sure.
And just because of the nostalgic factor. And I was looking at some reviews, and he's right. Like it's mediocre, middling to good reviews, like 7 to 8.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll come back
On a
to
scale
it.
of 10.
Well, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm probably gonna get the free trial and just binge it for like a long weekend.
I'm waiting till it's all out. So I can do that.
How many episodes? It's like 8 or 10. I think it's 10 actually.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the list of things to watch, so we'll come
We
back
can
to
put
it.
it
So
on there,
thank
yeah.
you, friend of the show, Thomas. We will come back to your comment and let you know what we think of it. We had some follow up on your question last week on what people thought of Morbius.
You don't say.
Do you? We actually
I
got.
can't believe anyone else actually saw the movie.
Well, we've got. I give you 3 quick ones.
Okay.
3 quick user reviews. First and foremost, for one of the friends of the show, MCU Informer, said 5 out of 10. And in our words, he would say it's worse than Aquaman 2018.
Yeah,
So
he's fucking right.
he's not wrong. It's
Yeah.
not a good movie. We in a very similar in a very similar mode. Friend of the show, Jordan, said 5 out of 10.
I feel like 5 is gracious.
He said
A 4.
he said in all seriousness, the action was shot terribly like Batman versus Superman. And he wasn't really sure what was going on. So, I mean, I'm with you.
It's carnival freak.
I didn't really know what was going on. And finally, friend of the show, Luke, messaged in and just said, you skipped it.
Yeah.
You asked him what his opinion was, and he just
Smart
said he
man,
wasn't
Luke.
into it.
Smart man. Yuck. That's all I have to say about that movie.
We had a couple
Yuck.
of other bits of correspondence on other things other than Michelangelo Mafioso.
That's not his actual name, is
No,
it?
it's not. I just made it
It's
up.
like maybe it is. And
I just made
didn't
it up.
realize.
Friend of the show, Chris, messaged in this week and asked, well, yourself, have you been watching Moon Knight? Because, I mean, I've been talking about
I
it.
haven't yet. There's 3 episodes out, right?
There's
Maybe-
3
maybe
episodes.
this
Third
weekend.
episode came out yesterday.
Doing a bit of a staycation this weekend. Maybe
All right,
we'll
very
get
nice.
around to it.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
He says, non-spoilers, he watched it on a flight to Melbourne and on my recommendation from the other week, and he absolutely loved it. So
Good shit.
good for you,
Are
Chris.
you
Thank
enjoying
you
it
for
so
the friend
far?
of the show. I watched the 3rd episode yesterday, and it's interesting. A few people have said the 3rd episode is not that great, but I enjoyed it personally. I'm getting a little bit MCU fatigue right now. I'm not gonna lie
I
to
said it
you.
wasn't in the MCU.
It is.
Now
Come
it
on,
is,
we've
yeah.
talked about this.
Now it is.
I redacted my statement.
now
All
it
right,
is, huh?
I redacted
But
my statement.
either way, it's supposed to not really be in it.
I don't know.
It's like kind of its own story, so you shouldn't have to worry
It
about.
kind of is.
Doctor Strange dicking in there, and
All right. In general, I'm getting a bit of superhero fatigue.
that's different. I agree with that.
I'm just feeling a bit like. I think it's because
There's so many of them.
it's not like if it was just Disney, maybe I'd be like, okay, like I can just about put up with it. But because there are other things as well, and not many of them are trying to do anything different, I'm like, this isn't great.
Well, it doesn't help when you make yourself watch these shitty ones.
Which ones?
Morbius, and
That was for content, man.
I know, but like my
Content
point
is
but
king.
That's probably affecting your ability to consume the
It could easily be.
you know.
We had a piece of news this week from Drop Dead Podcast, which was about the Fast and the Furious franchise, and Brie Larson is jumping in. I have social media guy Lockie posted on our Instagram too. What do you think?
I mean,
I'm not going to watch it.
no, I don't care.
I haven't seen any of
I
them.
don't care.
I think I started watching after the
She's
third
like chasing
one.
all the franchises.
She's doing stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
She's got an Oscar.
She's doing stuff now.
She's doing real
She's
stuff.
got an Oscar.
Look,
What'd she
thank
get?
you
She got an
guys.
Oscar for something?
Yeah, fucking I don't know. Thank you guys for sticking with it. We really do appreciate it. As always, where can they find us, DL?
They can find us on Podcast Assemble on Instagram and thepodcastassemble@gmail.com.
They can.
And then just to close things out, you guys, whenever you find a great meme, I send Tommy probably too many a day. Send it through. We got Lockie will send it to us, and we'll check it out.
We've got a bunch of memes.
we love that
We've had a
stuff.
bunch of memes recently. I should have brought one up.
Did
We'll
you
come
have
back.
any in the-
We'll come back to it.
Okay, we'll save them for next time. And then if there's if you have it in your if you have time in your day, give us a little review. If you have it in you, give us a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star.
Enthusiasm for this
Probably
is
just give
dynamic.
us a 5-star review, you know, and tell your friends about it.
It's meant to be good for the algorithms. We do appreciate you giving us
do.
great
We
reviews.
do.
Thank
And
you.
you know what?
guys.
You give us a review. We'll read it on the podcast. How about that? We'll do
We
that
will
for you.
do our best.
Yeah, we'll do that for you. Otherwise, man, thank you, Lockie, our social media guy, and thank
As
you,
always.
Tommy, for hosting today. And until
Thank you.
next time.
Thank you, DL.
Yeah.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.